So when I was in high school, all I wanted was to be happy. I went to mass with my mom growing up, but I wasn't into my faith at all. It just didn't make sense to me. I thought my life made sense without God. I had an incredible girlfriend who I thought I was in love with, had a best friend who I could talk to about anything. But over the course of one summer, she broke up with me, and my best friend moved away. And I remember feeling empty and alone, and I was embarrassed. And so I started to try to fill that emptiness, like with partying more, with hanging out more, with dating more girls. I gave into a lot more sins, thinking that they would satisfy me, but nothing worked. I realized I was just empty inside. Nothing satisfied that ache in my heart.
During my college years, I wanted reasons for my faith, and so I went to school just to learn more about my faith. But when I got there, it seemed like the answers that I received were things that just made me question even more. Like there was no reason for what we really believed. And so I ended up having this hatred in my heart. You know, I was still Catholic, but I really hated the church. I even became a missionary after college, a full-time missionary in Central America. The mission I went to was super Catholic, and I got down there and I just was so angry at the church. That I would go to Mass and I would openly make fun of the priest during his homily during the entire Mass. But I had no idea how arrogant I was and how drastically my life was about to change.
A friend of mine started to see how unhappy I'd become, and so she invited me to go on a retreat with her. But I didn't want to go. Like, I did not want to go on this retreat because I wanted nothing to do with the church. I didn't think that the church could tell me anything. I didn't think that the church had anything to offer me. But I went, and I remember telling God, "You better make something happen on this retreat, or else I'll leave the church forever." But on the second night of the retreat, I felt like I heard God speak to me. I heard him say, "I love you." And it pierced my heart because I always thought growing up that I had to do something to earn someone's love. But here God was looking at me and my brokenness and my mess with all the junk I had done over the past few years, all the sin I'd committed, and he told me, "I love you." I asked him, "What is your will for me?"
While I was at that mission, I got really sick. So sick that they thought I was going to die. So someone called the priest, and as I was lying there in that bed, in walked the man that I had made fun of for weeks now at every single Mass. And without hesitating, he rushed to my bedside and he gave me the anointing of the sick, and he gave me Holy Communion. And I remember lying there thinking, maybe I was wrong. Maybe this man really does know who Jesus is. Maybe this is all true. That began this process of asking questions in a really deep way. and finding the answers for the first time. And as I found those answers, something in my heart and in my mind changed, and I realized that I was not only falling in love with God, I was falling in love with His church that He gave us. For the last number of years, I had thought that I was so right and that the church was so wrong. But the priest had answers to questions that I had never heard. And for the first time in my life, I experienced the joy of being wrong. I remember being in front of the Eucharist one day, praying. And I was getting ready to get married to an amazing woman. But in my prayer, I said, God, I will do whatever you want me to do. And in my prayer, I realized God was saying, I will love you no matter what you choose, but I am calling you to a different path.
After the retreat, I started going back to church more. And the more I spent time praying with Jesus in adoration, the more it made sense to me what He was calling me to do.
In that chapel, I heard God's voice, and it was crystal clear.
I said to Him, Lord, I hear you calling me, and I will follow you.
I will be your priest.
I will be your priest.
It's never boring. It's never the same thing. It's never just kind of normal. It is the most important thing that I could do with my life.
Before I entered the seminary, I thought that all priests were perfect. Then I got to seminary and I quickly realized I'm broken. I'm so broken. But in the midst of my brokenness, the Lord loves me.
As a father, as a priest, I get to heal God's children. As a father and a priest, I get to feed God's children. In fact, all of the sacraments that are given to us by priests, they're the role of the father, of giving life and of healing and of feeding.
The priesthood is the greatest gift I could have ever received.
I am unworthy to be a priest. Every time I'm at the altar and every time I say the Mass, the universe is changed. The world is different because of what God has done and continues to do through the Mass.